Hey there, Numis team. This is Bill Pescosolido, and I'm coming to you today from my home office in Frisco, Texas. And I wanted to talk to you all a little bit today about setting up the three-way call. We have a lot of new people on our team and some old people who are kind of getting back in the swing of things. And a lot of you are sort of coming out saying, I have some three-ways available. I think I might have some three-ways coming up. How do I make that happen? How do I actually set up the three-way call? So that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So before we get to the actual three-way, I'm assuming that you have somewhat qualified this person, meaning you've asked if they're open, they've expressed an interest, however it is you got the lead or the prospect, and you sent them to a presentation. Now, at this point in time, we have the Numis 1 capture page / presentation, which is very short. It's the TAC presentation. It's about 4 minutes long, and it talks about the tax advantages, the assets, the cash flow, TAC, TAC. That's a great way to gauge if someone is interested in learning more information, getting more info. So I would start with that in some cases, like a person who doesn't really know anything about network marketing. Start them with the TAC presentation is a good way you could do it. But then when you follow up with them and they say, yeah, I want more information, then you might want to send them to the numispromotion.com. Right? So once you've now followed up with the person, after they've watched the presentation, whether they've watched the numispromotion.com because they're new to all of this, or whether they've watched the numisfornetworkers.com because they're an experienced network marketer, they've been in network marketing in the past already, so they kind of get the drill. Either way, you're going to follow up with them, and the first question out of your mouth is going to be, so what did you like most about what you saw? Right? And I think a lot of you have heard me say this before. What did you like most about what you saw? And they'll say, oh, I liked X, Y, Z. You say, awesome. What else did you like about what you saw? And they'll say, oh, I liked ABC. Great. What else? I find myself when I'm on the phone talking to prospects, I'm actually asking this question 3 or 4 or 5 times, really until they have nothing left to say. They're like, gosh, Bill, that's it. I don't know. I just gave you like 5 things. So keep fleshing out that information. Keep asking them, awesome. What else did you like? Oh, me too. What else did you like? Interesting. That's one of the reasons why we joined as well. What else did you like, right, about what they saw? You want to extract that information out for 2 reasons. Number one reason is because extracting this information out, this is the information that you then need to help close them down the road. All right. If you're making mental notes or writing actual notes, which I often do, as to the reasons why they like Numis, that is your ammunition to help you close them and bring them into the business. Subsequent conversations. The second reason number 2, that you want to have them say out loud what they liked about Numis is because psychologically they're starting to close themselves. Does that make sense? If you can get someone to say out loud why they like Numis, the reasons that joining Numis is a good idea, that is so much more powerful and impactful than you telling them why you think they should join. Right? So if I told you why I think it's great versus you telling me why you think it's great, that's a lot more powerful. So psychologically, they're starting to close themselves, making all of our jobs easier. Understand? Make sense? Cool. So what you want to do is after they start, once they share with you the reasons why they like Numis, and you say, what else did you like? What else did you like? If they said enough and they seem really excited, you could just go for the close right there. There's no need to do a 3-way. Just say something like, hey, well, it sounds like you're ready to join. Sounds like we're ready to move forward. It sounds like we got green lights here. Let me take you to the website where you can enroll on our team. We'll get you up and running. Something like that. Now, if they're like, okay, then awesome. Just go for it. Do it. Move forward. Don't hesitate. Just take them right to your replicated site. Stay on the phone with them. Say, go to this site right here. This is what I do. I say, go to numisnetwork.com/username. Great. Do you see that button there? Click that. Do you see that Join Now button? Awesome. Click that. And I literally walk them through, telling them step by step. And I don't get off the phone with them until I've received the confirmation email, right, that they joined us in Numis. It happens real time. So I'm waiting for them to actually push that final button. And then I'll say, welcome to the team. So I don't let them off the hook. I don't let them go. Support for you to remember. But let's get back to this scenario where you've asked them, what else do you like? What else do you like? And they say this, that, and the other. You say, great, sounds like you're ready to move forward. And they say, whoa, hold on a second, Bill. I got some questions first. Okay, now is when it's time to set up the 3-way, right? So after they've watched either the numispromotion.com or the numisfornetworkers.com, after you've asked them these questions and you've flushed out what they like most about Numis and the presentation and the company and so forth. And then they say, but I still have some more questions. That's when you set up the three-way call. Now, what you don't do is you don't say, okay, awesome, I'll see if I can get my upline on the phone right now. You don't do that. We want to still maintain our posture, and we want to still maintain our power, and we want to still maintain the attitude of, which I always do, is that we don't jump through hoops for prospects. We don't. The prospects are just prospects, right? We have a process that if they want to go through, they've got to go through. If they want to come on board, they've got to go through our process. And I never, ever, ever, ever jump through hoops for prospects. I never let them dictate the pace or the process. For example, if a prospect says, yeah, let's do a three-way. How about tomorrow? We got to do it tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I'll say, sorry, we can't do it tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Mainly because they just said we have to do it at 3 o'clock, right? So here's what you're going to do. What you're also not going to do, I'm all over the place here. What you're also not going to do is ask, hey, is it okay if we set up a three-way call to get your questions answered? You don't ask them for their permission to set up a three-way call because they could say, no, not cool with that. So instead, what you do is when they say, whoa, I got a bunch of questions, you say, awesome, we're going to get your questions answered, but right now, I don't have a lot of time for an in-depth Q&A session. I have actually other people I got to follow up with who've also watched the presentation. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to set up a three-way with my upline Bill, and we're going to get your questions answered. But here's the deal. Bill is extremely busy, right? So why don't you and I think of a couple times right now that we know works for us, and I'll see if one of those times works for Bill. So what do you think? Would maybe 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock work for you tonight? And I'll check with Bill. Yeah, 6 or 8. Okay, cool. Well, let me go. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get out the phone. I'm going to reach out to Bill, see if he's available. Sorry, I was having technical difficulties there. I'm going to reach out to Bill, see if he's available one of these 2 times, and then I'll get back in touch with you to confirm. Okay? Cool. So what you've done there is you've basically shared with them the process. You didn't ask, oh, can we set up a three-way with, like this is your first time doing it. I want you to portray and sort of project that you've done this 100 times before. And whether you have or haven't done it 100 times before, if you project an image that you have done it 100 times before, that you're not asking for their permission, you're not looking for their approval, you're simply informing them of how the process is going to be, right? So when they say, whoa, I got a lot of questions, you say, no problem, we'll get your questions answered. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time right now to get into a big Q&A session with you. So here's what we're going to do. Do you notice that? Here's what we're going to do. You're leading them by the hand. Your prospects want to be led. You just have to lead them. You have to be that authoritative presence. You have to be that leader, again, as if you've done this hundreds of times before, and that this is just how it's done. This is just how it's done. This is how we do it. So here's what's going to happen. Bill's super busy, but we're going to get your questions answered. But first of all, let's find a couple of times it works for you and I. I'll see if that works for Bill, and I'll let you know, and we'll get your questions answered. Cool? Cool. So then you will text me, call me, whatever, and say, hey, Bill, got a prospect. Are you available at either 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock tonight? And I'll say, sure, let's do 8 o'clock. So you then call back your prospect. You don't email them back. You don't text them back. You call them because you want to actually confirm with them. And you also want to do what I'm about to tell you. Call them back and you say, hey, good news, Joe. Joe's your prospect. Good news, Joe. Just got off the phone with Bill. He's super busy tonight, but he said he'd have 10 or 15 minutes. He'd be able to answer some of your questions at 8 o'clock. All right, so we're pretty lucky. We got him at 8 o'clock for 10, 15 minutes. So I'll call you back at 8. We'll get your questions answered. Sound good? Good. So what you've done there is you've established posture. You've established that we're very, very busy, that this is not the only prospect out there, right? We have lots of prospects. We have lots of irons in the fire. We've got lots of things going on. This prospect is, I don't want to say that he's not important, but that we have so much going on that, in a way, you're not that important. You're not. We're setting that tone. We don't kowtow to prospects. We don't let prospects dictate the pace. Again, they're just a prospect. All right, just a prospect. So by establishing this posture, hey, Bill's super busy, a lot of things going on, but he'll give you 10 or 15 minutes to answer your questions. Clearly not, yeah, Bill's got an hour. He'll sit there all night with you. or any time works. Doesn't have much going on. You pick a time. He'll be there no matter what. No. You're checking with me first to see if I'm available. That's why you're getting 2 times, because you're managing 3 people's schedules, yours, your prospects, my own. So that's basically how it's done. Now, when you actually get the 3-way, so it's time for the 3-way call now, very important that you edify the appropriate person. All right, so as the person initiating the 3-way call, you can call me first, then call the prospect, or vice versa. And usually probably call me first is best. Give me a little background to the person, the situation. Then you conference in the 3-way, or the conference in the prospect, and you say, well, let me start by doing it the wrong way. And this is what someone's done before in the past, and here's the wrong way to do it. You have 3-way call. Joe's the prospect, you, and then me on the other line. You say, hey, Bill, I got Joe on the phone here. Joe's one of my prospects. He's been in network marketing in the past. At one point, he built an organization of 1,200 people. He's a madman as far as recruiting and prospecting. I think he'd be an awesome addition to the team. Joe, this is Bill. And then I'm just like, hi, I'm Bill. What you've done there, and again, that's the wrong way. What you've done there, you've edified the prospect. You've put all the power and the posture, and you've inflated the prospect up. He's sitting there like, yeah, they want me. I'm so important. Yeah, I've done all this stuff in the past. They're going to try and close me now. Look at me, prospect guy. All right, we don't want that. So instead, what you do is something like this. And mind you, this is not for my ego. My ego is already pretty good. This is, again, just to maintain power and to keep the appropriate perspective from the prospect's point of view. All right, so here's what you should do, something along these lines. Hey, Joe, I've got Bill on the phone. This is my upline Bill. He's my sponsor. Bill and his wife Michelle are the top recruiters in Numis. They're leaders within the industry. Bill is super busy tonight. He's given us a little bit of time. We're really happy to have him here for this call. Bill, this is Joe. See the difference there? You've edified your upline. And then the prospect is just, and this is Joe. Make sense? So I hope this helps. This is basically how you set up and then conduct 3-ways. Oh, and then by the way, once you've done that, Bill, this is Joe, you just kind of politely and let me come over and let me step in. You take notes, listen intently, be sort of an active listener. But for the most part, I will kind of kick in and take over from there. So I hope this helps. I hope you find this useful. I hope you start immediately employing these methods. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.